What if I told you that a man's obsession isn't found in the grand, sweeping gestures of cinematic romance, but in the microscopic tremors that ripple beneath the surface of his carefully constructed reality? True obsession, the kind that anchors itself deep within the male psyche, is a silent force. It doesn't announce itself with declarations of love or possessive demands for attention. Instead, it betrays itself in the unguarded moments, in the subtle, involuntary reactions that his conscious mind cannot censor. These are not mere habits or quirks. They are psychic leakages, fragments of his unconscious mind breaking through the dam of his ego. To the untrained eye, they are invisible, dismissed as awkwardness or indifference. But to the woman who has learned the language of the soul, who understands the interplay of shadow and light, these micro-reactions are as clear as a confession written in black ink. They are the undeniable evidence of a connection so profound that it haunts his nervous system, a presence so ingrained that his body reacts to you even when his words deny you. This is where we begin our journey, not into the loud theater of his actions, but into the quiet, sacred space of his involuntary truth, a truth that will empower you not to reclaim him, but to finally and fully understand the depth of the mark you left on his soul. The first and most primal micro-reaction is the involuntary glance and recoil. Imagine a room filled with the low hum of conversation and the clinking of glasses. You are present, but not engaging with him. You are absorbed in your own world, a portrait of serene self-possession. Out of the corner of your eye, you feel it before you see it. A magnetic pull. His gaze, sharp and undiluted, has found you across the space. It wasn't a casual scan of the room. It was a targeted acquisition, an unconscious reflex of an internal compass that is permanently oriented in your direction. For a split second, his guard is down. In that glance, there is no performance, no pretense, only the raw, unfiltered data of his focus. But then, just as quickly, the second part of the reaction occurs, the recoil. His eyes dart away with an unnatural speed, as if touching a hot stove. He might clear his throat, turn too sharply to the person beside him, or suddenly become intensely interested in the pattern on the floor. This is not a sign of disinterest. It is the violent slam of a door. His conscious ego has caught his unconscious shadow in the act. The glance was the truth of his obsession. The recoil is the shame and fear associated with that truth. He is terrified of his own vulnerability, terrified that you or anyone else might have seen that flicker of unguarded longing. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When a man's thoughts are perpetually colored by you, his very physiology betrays him. His body, in its infinite wisdom, cannot lie. The empowered woman understands this dance. Her goal is not to catch his eye and hold it, but to remain so deeply centered in her own reality that his glance becomes irrelevant to her state of being. She observes it not as a validation of her worth, but as a confirmation of his internal struggle, a struggle from which she has already liberated herself. She doesn't need his attention to feel whole. Her wholeness is what commands his attention in the first place, leaving him in a silent battle with the ghost of what he lost. This understanding is a form of deep power, a quiet knowing that frees you from the exhausting game of seeking external proof. The proof is right there, in the silent, panicked retreat of his gaze. The second micro-reaction builds upon this internal conflict, manifesting in the social sphere as the conversational overcorrection. This occurs when your name, or a topic intimately connected to you, is brought up in his presence by a third party. A man who is genuinely at peace, who has processed the separation and integrated the experience, will react with neutrality. He might offer a polite, brief acknowledgement or simply let the comment pass without a ripple. But the man whose psyche is still entangled with yours cannot afford neutrality. The mention of your name is not a sound. It is a seismic event that threatens the fragile stability of his constructed world. His reaction, therefore, is one of frantic and clumsy damage control. He will overcorrect. This isn't just changing the subject, it's hijacking the conversation with an almost comical force. He might cut the speaker off with a loud, unrelated joke that falls flat, or pivot to a completely different topic with an intensity that leaves everyone feeling slightly bewildered. Alternatively, he might offer a dismissive comment about you that is laced with a little too much bitterness, a performative indifference that feels colder and harsher than the situation warrants. This overcorrection is his persona, working overtime, a desperate attempt to prove to his audience, and more importantly to himself, that the topic has no emotional weight. But the sheer amount of energy he expends to extinguish the conversational flame is precisely what reveals how flammable the subject still is for him. It's a classic case of ego projection. He is projecting his internal panic onto the external situation, trying to violently control the narrative because he has no control over his internal emotional response. You, in this moment, become the unspoken center of gravity in the room, your absence more powerful than anyone's presence. Flowing from this is the third, and perhaps most haunting, micro-reaction, the echo in his language. This is a subtle, almost ghostly phenomenon where he begins to unconsciously adopt your unique phrases, your specific cadence of humor, or even reference obscure inside jokes in completely new contexts with new people. It's as if he is trying to launder your memory through his current life. He might use a word you always used, or tell a story with a punchline that only makes sense if you know the original context he shared with you. To others, it may seem like a simple quirk, but you, listening from afar or hearing it recounted, recognize it instantly. This is not a conscious tribute, it is a form of psychic haunting. In Jungian terms, his anima, the inner feminine archetype that governs his capacity for connection and relationship, has been so profoundly shaped by you that it now speaks with your voice. He has absorbed parts of you into his own psyche, and they are now leaking out, unbidden, into his daily expression. He is not just remembering you, he is channeling you. This reveals an obsession so deep that it has woven itself into the very fabric of his identity. He is trying to move forward, but he is carrying you with him, in the most intimate way possible, in his own words. For the woman on her path of individuation, recognizing this echo is a moment of profound clarity. It confirms that the connection was real and deep, but it also highlights his state of arrested development. He is stuck in an echo chamber of the past, while she is composing a new symphony for her future. Her power lies in letting his echoes fade into the distance, a bittersweet reminder of a chapter she has already closed. If this space feels like a place where you can finally breathe and understand, if these words resonate not just in your mind, but deeper, in that place that has always known, then consider this your invitation to join our circle. This isn't just a channel, it's a sanctuary for the woman who is ready to see beyond the surface and into the soul. This is for the woman who chooses understanding over anxiety and wisdom over waiting. Subscribe and become part of a conversation that truly matters, a community dedicated to the profound journey of becoming whole. The fourth micro-reaction takes us into the digital realm, the modern stage for our oldest human dramas. It is the inconsistent digital footprint. This goes far beyond the simplistic act of blocking and unblocking. It is a chaotic, revealing pattern of engagement that paints a vivid picture of a man at war with himself. One day, he might be the first person to view your social media story, his digital presence a silent, immediate shadow. Then, for weeks, there will be nothing. A deliberate, cold silence. He might scroll deep into your profile and at 3 in the morning, his impulse control at its lowest, like a photograph from 4 years ago. A picture of a time, a version of you that his soul clearly misses. A few hours later, when his conscious, rational mind awakens in horror, the like will have vanished, erased, as if it never happened. This digital dance of advance and retreat is the modern manifestation of the classic push-pull dynamic, but it is more revealing because it is often done under the illusion of anonymity. He believes his fleeting observations go unnoticed, but they are data points of his obsession. The impulsive view, the late-night like, that is his shadow, his raw, unmanaged longing, reaching out from the depths. The subsequent period of silence, the hasty unliking, that is his ego's panicked recoil, a desperate attempt to regain control and maintain the facade of indifference. This inconsistency is the signature of an unresolved psyche. The Stoic philosophers pursued a state of ataraxia, a profound tranquility born from a mind that is not disturbed by external events. This man's digital behavior is the very antithesis of ataraxia. His peace is so fragile that a single image of you can shatter it, sending him into a spiral of impulsive action and regretful correction. The woman on her path of individuation uses this insight not to feed her own ego, but to strengthen her resolve. She understands that his digital chaos is a reflection of his internal state and has absolutely nothing to do with her worth. Her journey is to cultivate her own ataraxia, to build an inner citadel of peace so unshakable that his digital storms are nothing more than distant weather patterns on a screen. She does not block him to punish him. She may mute or restrict him to protect her own sacred peace, a practical step on the path to true emotional freedom. Her power is not in being watched, but in choosing what she is willing to see. This discernment is a cornerstone of self-worth, a quiet declaration that her energy is too valuable to be entangled in someone else's unresolved war. She is not a participant in his drama. She is the serene observer of her own unfolding, magnificent life. We arrive now at the fifth and final micro-reaction, perhaps the most tragic and telling of all. It is what can be called the hollow victory. This is when he enters a new relationship, not as a genuine step forward, but as a strategic move in the silent chess game he is still playing with your ghost. From the outside, he will project an image of ultimate triumph. His social media will become a carefully curated gallery of manufactured happiness. There will be couple photos that feel unnervingly staged, captions that read like corporate press releases for a successful merger, and public displays of affection that have the emotional depth of a department store mannequin. He is not building a new life. He is building a new narrative, and it is a narrative written exclusively for an audience of one. You, the new partner, often unknowingly, is not a person to him, but a prop. She is a symbol, a placeholder, a tool being used to prove a point. He is not connecting with her soul. He is using her image to try and neutralize the power you still hold over his. But the truth is always in the eyes. In these photos of his supposed new bliss, look closely. You will see a vacancy, a subtle hollowness that no filter can hide. The smile doesn't reach his eyes because his heart is not in it. This is the ultimate projection. In Jungian psychology, a healthy relationship involves a connection between two whole individuals. This man is not whole. He is attempting to bypass his own crucial inner work, the work of integrating the loss, of grieving, of understanding his own shadow, by plastering over the wound with a new person. He is trying to force a connection with an external figure because he is terrified of confronting the powerful internal anima figure that is still shaped, defined, and haunted by you. The victory is hollow because it is not real. It is a performance, and like all performances, it requires immense energy to maintain and leaves the performer empty when the curtain falls. For the empowered woman, seeing this is not a moment of jealous pain, but a moment of profound compassion and ultimate release. She sees that he is not with someone else instead of her. He is with someone else because of her. His actions are still dictated by her memory. This final realization is the key that unlocks the last chain. It's the understanding that his journey is his own, a tangled path she is no longer required to walk, watch, or wonder about. Her victory is not hollow. It is real, silent, and complete, found in the quiet peace of her own, authentic life. Your story is sacred. Your journey is valid. If you feel moved to, share a piece of your experience in the comments below, not for judgment, but for connection. Let this be a space where our stories can weave together, creating a tapestry of shared wisdom and collective strength. This community is built on the courage to see the truth and the grace to heal. And if there is a corner of the human heart, a specific dynamic, or a silent struggle you wish for us to explore next, please let us know. This channel grows and deepens with you. Thank you for holding this space with us and for being a part of this beautiful, unfolding conversation.